After reading this module, you shall be able to understand various indicators of internationalization, examine various indexes of measuring internationalization, identify the regional diversification of MNEs, analyze the latest trends of internationalization of selected MNEs. The growing internationalization of economic system is a topic of considerable interest in economics and business literature. Multinational enterprises or MNEs are generally considered to be the agents most responsible for the internationalization process and for cross-country business integration in modern economies. Internationalization is the process in which firms increase their involvements in international operations. They do it for increasing the annual profits or cash flows or reducing the cost by transferring competitive advantage to a foreign market. They also do for expanding the market size, enjoy greater economies of scale, and for risk diversification. Thus, internationalization can be considered as an incremental process of acquisition, integration, and use of knowledge on foreign markets. There are many theories of the firms which discuss the process of internationalization of the firms, especially of those based in developed countries. These theories include the Vernon's product life cycle theory, Uppsala International Expansion Model, Johnson and Varney and the recent eclectic paradigm theory of Dunning, and investment development path. In this context, Dunning 1993 has pointed out that if the firm only has ownership advantages, then the enterprise should choose the means of licensing arrangements for the technology transfer. And if the firm has both ownership as well as internalization advantages, it should choose domestic production and exports. And finally, if firm has ownership internal as well as locational advantages at the same time, the enterprise will choose foreign direct investment. Here, the ownership advantages include ownership of patents and trademarks, technology, brand name, core competencies of a firm, and ability to meet the current potential customers' demand. Internalization is about decision to make an activity internal to the firm, while the locational advantages are external to the firms and therefore are not controlled by them, but they adjust and take this advantage through investment abroad. Dunning pointed out that the firms will be involved in foreign production whenever they perceive it is in their best interest to combine spatially transferable intermediate products produced in the home country with at least some immobile factor endowments or their intermediate products in another country. The choice of international production and management is essentially a dynamic issue. Heimer presented internationalization as a way of enforcing market power, which implies an evolving world where there is no space for the notion of equilibrium. Let us discuss about the indicators of internationalization. The process of globalization has generated a wider interest in the trans-border activities of corporations. But there are different views on the methods to measure internationalization of the MNEs. In the related literature, there are a number of indicators to measure the internationalization process of the MNEs. These can be broadly classified as the structural indicators, performance indicators, and the attitudinal indicators. The structural indicators. Structural indicators try to give a picture of the internationalization process of an MNE. These include the number or proportion of countries a company is active in, the number or proportion of foreign affiliates, the number or proportion of non-capital alliances abroad such as strategic alliances, franchised operations, etc. The amount or proportion of foreign assets, the amount or proportion of value added abroad, amount or proportion of sourcing abroad, the number or proportion of foreign employees, the number of stock markets in which a company is listed, the amount or proportion of the shares owned by the foreigners, the number or proportion of non-nationals on the board of directors. Performance indicators. Performance indicators measure the performance, that is a success or failure of corporate activity on some pre-selected indicators. These indicators can be related with sales, profits, turnover, etc. depending upon the objective function of the firm. Don Beecher pointed out the indicator of foreign sales which can be viewed from the demand as well as the supply side. From the demand side, we may calculate the amount of foreign sales by customer location. It is calculated as the sum of exports from the home market and the total revenue generated by the foreign affiliates after deducting their revenue from export to the home country. The supply side of the foreign sales include amount of sales by the foreign affiliates, which is sum of revenues of foreign affiliates. Another important performance indicator showing the internationalization process of MNEs is the operating income from abroad, which is defined as the sum of operating income of all the foreign affiliates of an MNE. Attitudinal indicators. This indicator seems to be much qualitative in character, though being measured in quantities. It suggests the behavior of the MNEs in the host economy. It gives a reflection of the management practices and that of the parent company policies regarding their foreign affiliates and the host economy markets. These indicators are further subdivided into soft and hard indicators. In the soft indicators, the management styles, decision making, communication flows, recruiting and staffing strategies, and their laws are analyzed in different ethnocentric, region-centric and geocentric systems. Here, ethnocentric management system is said to be oriented towards the home economy. Polycentric is oriented towards the host country. Region-centric is regionally oriented and geocentric is globally oriented. On the other hand, the hard indicators include the international experience of the top managers, which can be measured by calculating the cumulative duration of the years the top managers spend working abroad, weighted by the total years of their working experience. Sullivan states that the international mindset of the company increases with the international experience of the top managers. Besides these three indicators, the research on the internationalization of MNEs has suggested several other indicators which are singular or composite in character. There are certain indicators showing the regional concentration or the diversification of the operations of the MNEs. Then some indicators are composite indicators based on the average value of the individual indicators. We may discuss these here. Regional diversification of the MNEs. For measuring the international spread of MNEs, some studies have used the Herfindahl index and the Gini index to measure the spread of the foreign affiliates in a given region or across the regions. Jatogillis suggested a network spread index for measuring the geographical variation of internationalization of the MNEs. He measured it by taking the number of countries in which the affiliate of the MNE has been working as a proportion of all countries where foreign direct investment occurred minus one country, that is the home country of the MNE in question. Similarly, Sullivan 1994 introduced an indicator of psychic dispersion. This indicator suggested to divide the world market in 10 zones with different cognitive maps relating to management principles. The more zones a company is active in, the larger is the psychic dispersion of internationalization. The composite indices of internationalization of the MNEs. Given the multidimensionality of the internationalization operations of the MNEs, relying upon a single variable will neither give the true picture of internationalization of an MNE, nor it gives a comparable picture of different MNEs who may be internationalizing themselves on different indicators, which may be giving a contradictory result. For example, the modernization of foreign affiliate may lead to increase in foreign assets, but lower the value of the indicator showing the number of employees if the new adopted technology is labor saving. There are a few popularly used indices which we can discuss here. The first one is Transnationality Index. This index was first used by UNCTAD in its World Investment Report 1995, and it is being calculated since then to measure the internationalization process of various MNEs. It is designed to give a summary view of the position of different companies, countries and industries in the internationalization process. At the basis of this index, which will here be referred to as the Transnationality Index, is the relationship between home and foreign activities for any particular company. Thus, a company is considered to be very internationalized if the ratio of its foreign to total activities is very high, independently of whether these foreign activities take place in one single foreign country or region or in many. This index is a simple average of three ratios, that is the foreign sales to total sales, foreign assets to total assets, and foreign employment to total employment. Let A is a company's total assets and AF is company's foreign assets, S is company's total sales and SF is company's foreign sales, E company's total employment and EF company's foreign employment. We get the following three unidimensional indices: AI, foreign asset index, which is equal to AF upon A, SI, foreign sales index, which is equal to SF upon S, EI, foreign employment index, which is equal to EF upon E. The UNCTAD index is an average of the three as follows: TNI, that is the transnationality index, is equal to AI plus SI plus EI divided by 3. We can take here an example from the World Investment Report 2015 by UNCTAD. This is shown in table here. We can see in this table that if we simply go by the value of foreign assets, sales or employment separately, then the internationalization of these MNEs will give different results as compared to the composite index. In this table, we can see the value of foreign assets is the highest for Volkswagen Group from Germany. Foreign sales and employment is the highest for MNE SPA from Italy. In ratio terms as well, this is the highest for MNE SPA from Italy, followed by Deutsche Telekom AG from Germany in case of foreign assets as percentage of total assets. In case of foreign sales as percentage of total sales, it is the highest for Airbus Group's NV from France, and in case of employment, it is highest for Enel SPA from Italy. However, taking the composite index, that is transnationality index, which is a simple average of these three indicators, it is the highest for Airbus Group NV from France. Thus, we can see that the transnationality index concentrates on both the demand and supply side of internationalization. The variable related to sales captures demand and markets. The variable related to assets and employment captures the productivity or supply side and its location. Its composite nature gives a good feel for the overall interest of companies in foreign countries. However, from the point of view of the home country or indeed of the foreign countries, it does not allow the distinction between locations where markets are and those where production take place. But this index cannot distinguish between those companies whose foreign activities are concentrated in one or few countries and those whose activities are spread in many foreign countries. It does not talk about the geographical spread of the MNEs. Transnational Activity Spread Index. This index was proposed by Ieto Gillies as a combination of two indices, that is UNCTAD's Transnationality Index and her own Network Spread Index, hence called Transnational Activity Spread Index. This index is annually calculated for the world's top 100 non-financial MNEs, which are selected on basis of their foreign assets. The collection and the calculation of the data is undertaken by the Studies and Competence Center for Organizational and Policy Research in European Business, that is SCOPE, at the Erasmus University of Rotterdam. This index actually gives an overview of the impacts of the structure and direction of international spread of the MNE's activities. The spread of activities into many countries may involve the company in extra managerial cost, but it may also bring it additional advantages, including the spread of risks among many countries and opportunities that knowledge of different locations gives, including the speed to react to any such opportunities. These advantages can be translated into stronger competitive position against the rivals. Companies that are already working in many countries have better bargaining strength with national governments to secure favorable conditions for the location of additional investment. In order to combine the two indices, that is UNCTAD's Transnationality Index and IATO-Gillies Network Spread Index, we can simply use the Network Spread Index as weight for the uni and multidimensional Transnationality Index as follows. ASI is Asset Spread Index, which is equal to AF upon A multiplied by N divided by N star, which is equal to AI into NSI, where SSI is Sales Spread Index, which is equal to SF divided by S multiplied by N upon N star and SI multiplied by NSI. ESI is the Employment Spread Index, which is equal to EF upon E multiplied by N divided by N star, which is equal to EI into NSI. TASI is Transnational Activity Spread Index, which is equal to TNI multiplied by N divided by N star. Here TNI is the Transnationality Index, N is the number of foreign countries in which a company has affiliates, and N star is the number of foreign countries in which potentially the company could have located its affiliates. In theory, N star would be taken to be all the countries of the world. In practice, it is likely to be confined to all the countries that receive inward investment. In the study, N star is the total number of countries in which there is inward stock of FDI minus 1. Hence, the Network Spread Index is NSI, which is equal to N upon N star. In this way, we take TASI or Transnational Activity Spread Index is equal to TNI multiplied by N upon N star. Then we can simply say that the Transnational Activity Spread Index is the product of Transnationality Index and the Network Spread Index. The combined index indicates that the overall degree of internationalization of a company is higher. The higher the percentage of activities abroad and higher the spread of such activities in the foreign countries. The degree of internationalization scale. This index was proposed by Sullivan. Sullivan took 9 indicators of 74 American manufacturing MNEs to calculate the degree of internationalization. These 9 indicators try to encompass a range of structural, performance and attitudinal items. These indicators, all weighted by a factor 1, form the degree of internationalization scale. In detail, the index is composed of the ratio of foreign sales to total sales, foreign assets to total assets and foreign subsidiaries to total subsidiaries. The international experience of top managers measured as the cumulative duration of years top managers spend working abroad weighted by the total years of their working experience, and the psychic dispersion of international operations. Sullivan suggested 5 measures that operationalize the performance attribute of internationalization, including the common measure of foreign sales as percentage of total sales, that is FSTS. It has been generally noted and pointed out by many studies that R&D activities themselves predict the rise of MNEs and proves to be an important mean of gaining market share in global competition. Therefore, the research and development intensity, that is RDI, has been included as a variable in measuring the DOI of an MNE. Similarly, the scale of MNE's marketing function is routinely operationalized by advertising intensity. Apart from it, other measures that are used are export sales as percentage of total sales, that is ESTS, and foreign profits as percentage of total profits, that is FPTP. For structural attributes of DOI, 2 measures are suggested. These are foreign assets as percentage to total assets, that is FATA, and overseas subsidiaries as a percentage of total subsidiaries, that is OSTS. Finally, in case of attitudinal attributes, top managers' international experience, that is TMIE, is calculated by tallying the cumulative duration of top managers' international assignments as identified by the firm. The second attitudinal measure tries to estimate the psychic dispersion of international operations of a firm. The psychic distance is estimated by the geographical dispersion of the overseas subsidiaries of a firm. Hence, the psychic dispersion of international operations, that is PDIO, by dividing the dispersion of the subsidiaries of a firm among the 10 psychic zones of the world as identified by Ronen and Shaker. These zones are Anglo, Germanic, Nordic, Near Eastern, Arab, Far Eastern, Latin American, Latin European, Independent and other. Each zone suggests a unique cognitive map of the principles of management. Greater is the dispersion of an MNC subsidiaries across these 10 zones, the greater will be the psychic dispersion of its international operations. Let us summarize what we have learned from this module. We have seen a number of individual and composite indicators measuring the degree of internationalization of the MNEs. But each of these indices is to be tested with reliability, exactness and validity. It is generally pointed out by the critics that the individual indicators are not very reliable due to some measurement errors. These errors are more likely to occur in case of attitudinal indicators due to the biased view and cognitive dissonance. Even in case of other indicators, lack of a clear definition of the given variable puts hurdles in exact and comparable measurement of the related index. Moreover, simply comparing the quantitative values of these variables across sectors as well as economies hides many intangible and qualitative aspects such as real cost of raising or generating employment, assets or sales in a particular location. Besides, there are certain contingent influences such as exchange rate fluctuations, relocation of MNEs from one location to another, which may jeopardize the comparability of the internationalization of an MNE with others or with its own self over a period of time. Besides, there are certain transfer pricing manipulations which may pollute the exact measurement of the given indicator, especially of those which are measured in monetary terms such as sales, assets, etc. However, as compared to the individual indicators, the composite indicators are considered to be more reliable than the individual indicators. Here we have discussed 3 composite indicators, but each of the indicator has different orientation and is subject to different types of biases and limitations. UNCTAD's transnationality index combines 2 structural and 1 performance indicator, and then we have the Iato-Gillies transnationality spread index that uses transnationality index as a base and then weighs it with another structural indicator, that is transnational activity spread index. The third one, that is degree of internationalization, which includes all the 3 dimensions of internationalization, that is the performance, structural and the attitudinal. But still there are doubts if even this comprehensive indicator is free from all flaws and limitations which other indicators have, especially due to their narrow scope. Critics point out that the idea of psychic dispersion used in Sullivan's indicator is highly vague and it may differ from sector to sector, country to country and from region to region. Ramaswamy et al. Pointed out that Sullivan's index has excluded several indirect factors which may be influencing the internationalization of an MNE. These can be indirect exporting, licensing, joint ventures, etc. Moreover, in these 3 composite indicators, there is complete absence of argument or valid justification behind the use of weights while averaging the values of individual indicators and their sub-indices. It is being felt that none of the indices discussed here is perfect and flawless, but still they can be used in different contexts based on the different research questions. Composite indices are still considered to be more reliable, as we can simply observe the changes in the aggregates as well as the components of these indices to get an idea about the most influential indicator determining the extent of internationalization of an MNE.